the Student City Council regular meeting of July 16th, 2025. All members of the council are here and account for. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 4, consideration of the agenda. Is there any need to make any revisions or changes? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Anybody like to second that?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That sounded unanimous. Thank you. Item 5 is consideration of consent agenda. We have 5 items on consent. Meeting minutes from June 18th, meeting minutes from July 2nd, bills from June 10th to July 10th, receipts from June 10th to July 10th, and a profit and loss statement by class that goes from June 10th to July 10th. Does anyone want to pull any of those items for discussion?
I just have one question. Is there a summary form that shows our profit and loss for everything together?
No, because we have to, there is, for our accounting, there is no altogether. There are some segregated funds that, like gas tax has to be accounted as gas tax. And
I understand.
so you never want to show it as sort of a bottom line because it can only be road maintenance in
Right.
that case. So
But is there anything that we could produce that would give us an idea as to whether or not we are on budget, beyond budget, below budget? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're looking at like 5 different funds.
yes,
It's hard to quantify
And-
that in my brain.
right.
I can tell you that last year I did it all by hand because I was new, didn't really know how to do it. But Becky did put in the budget that we just passed into QuickBooks, so that might be a possibility.
I recognize QuickBooks right here. This looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in
Every-
terms.
Yeah, and
I realize that funds are segregated. but
Yeah.
still, if-
no, you're right. Quite, you'll put like, this is 1/12 of the year, and we have spent 1/10 of our budget, or 1/100th of the budget, or whatever. Yeah, and then you can kind of get a snapshot.
Yeah.
That might be more useful if it was, say, quarterly, so it's not too granular, but, so maybe do a quarterly report out. So first quarter of the new budget year, probably the month after the first quarter ends, do the report, because that's kind of how, when we get the finals, it's, here's the snapshot.
Right, and just like any family budget, our property taxes are due, in October, so
Yeah.
sometimes you have those big items that just
Right.
happen periodically.
Coming up, and yeah.
And that would be nice, Lila, if you had that as kind of a sub-note at the bottom, if you could. Like if there are things that really impact the budget, one big heavy-duty item that we're paying for that skews the numbers, at least we know, okay, we're
Yeah.
done with that for the year, that's going to.
And permits do that with the income. It'll
Right.
go up 1 month, there's no expense yet, and then you'll see big expenses as they build a home,
Right.
and no income,
Right,
for the next 4,
The taxes
whatever.
do the same thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but it would be nice to get a summary sheet. so
Okay.
Well, and currently in here, the audit, right, because we pretty much paid for most of that last year's audit, well, the 23-24 audit in this last month.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you see some big hits there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Any other questions? Seeing none, could I get a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll put that for Larry.
Yeah.
Anybody want a second? Susan?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that was unanimous. All right, Lila, item 6, any announcements or correspondence you want to cover?
It's just that I'm sure people saw the parking lot, and there's some wreckage out there, and just so you know that that was somebody's, and they're putting in an insurance claim, so that should be getting cleaned up very shortly. Just so-
What happened there? I mean, besides the fact that it burned down, were they in there at the time?
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
Were
Yes,
they
they
camping?
Yes.
Yeah. That was the guy that was there a month or so ago,
Mm-hmm.
and he has 1,000 Trails membership, and I think he can stay 28 days.
And then he has to be out.
3 weeks.
Okay, 3
Yeah, he
weeks.
told us he can stay 3 weeks, then he has to leave.
So, yeah, he drove out, thought, well, this was a pretty safe spot, and his heater exploded, and at what, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night, fully engulfed motorhome, burned to the ground. So,
And I noticed just walking around the wreckage, there's quite a few little propane bottles here and there, so that could have been a lot worse.
yeah. I don't know if it could be worse. He got burned, and it's a total loss, but
He
yeah.
was burned?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, my goodness, oh.
yeah,
And it was still burning when I arrived on Tuesday morning.
yeah. Still smoldering. They thought they put it out, and then the fire department came back.
So he's gonna put the claim in and get the wreckage removed?
Yeah.
And we've been in contact with him. He's actually been he contacts us regularly, so, yeah.
And then we'll see if there's asphalt that needs to be repaired or something
Yeah.
as part of that.
Maybe we could ask him not to park there again.
Well,
At this point, he doesn't have a motorhome, so
Yeah.
he's got a boat, though.
He's living in his boat now.
Yeah,
Please don't park your boat.
yeah. Anything else?
no, that's it.
All right, thank you. Let's go to 7, mayor report. We have a couple of things. So, Rich had talked to the residents on Dyer Way, and because he was invited to that meeting with the county and said they hadn't heard from anybody. I emailed the county and they said, we haven't tried to contact anybody. We didn't say we couldn't get in touch, but we will. They have a request for proposals to do the design that is due August 1st. And he said they want to complete the thing in 3 months, and all they needed from us was that we intend to accept that. So I emailed them back today, and I said yes. And I said, if you want a letter on letterhead, I'll send you one. So we're just going to look up that meeting date where we had the presentation and say, on this date, the council agreed that they thought it was a favorable idea, and we'll send it back to him for his action. So I don't know what happened there, but their attorney hadn't tried to contact us yet, but he thanked. I added her number and email and mine, and I said, call my cell if you have a problem, and he said, no, thanks for contacting them. So it should move quickly now. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
So that looks like it's making progress. The kayak flume repairs on the Syracuse River, we have all the stainless hardware in hand and some plastic, and then we need to get
the rest.
from Dan. So, and I'm going on vacation, so in August, do you want to get together? We'll
Okay.
make the repair. So, Rich and I volunteered to repair that. And then our audit is complete. You'll have the final approval in front of you at a future meeting, but auditor signed off, submitted to the state. That's the good news. The bad news is it was really, really expensive. The good news is we found another municipal auditor that will do, he's looking at the alternatives methods. You basically get a manual of, as long as you follow these procedures, you don't have to do the audit, and you send him a report, and he reviews the report. So it will bring the price way down, like $30,000, $25,000, $30,000 savings every year. So Lila's working on that. So golf applause for Lila. She found the guy that'll do it, and so far so good. So
So we've been doing these reports for all these years and costing us several thousands.
no, this was only the second time we did a full audit, and it was COVID money that put us over the financial threshold. So the state has a $500,000 annual, $1 million for any reason. We went over once. We're now under the $500,000, but because we did an audit, you had to do a follow-up, but we're a good candidate for the alternative methods because our annual budget is, what, about $440,000 total?
Yeah.
So even if we got a modest project, like if we got a grant and we're less than $1 million, we could do that. So then it ends up with the annual, after this report's created, his annual fee is
It was 12,500.
to create the alternative methods. But then his annual, if you said you followed it, is like half of that, right? Like 6,000. So we'll go from 36,000 to 6,000.
Wow.
That's the goal.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then the other hopeful piece is if Lane Council of Government starts doing audits for the small communities in Lane County, we would be eligible to use them as well. And they're looking into that. They have the same problems we do with the auditor, but they have an $84 million budget. And they paid the same amount we did, and they have $84 million. I said, how much was that? Because they just did the budget report 2 weeks ago. And they said, after the meeting, we got that for $40,000. And I said, we paid the same. She was shocked. So hopefully we'll have some choices here in the near future, so, so far, all good news. And that's all I have. There is a permit report and a code enforcement report in your packet with some permit numbers. I hope that's helpful information. The code enforcement is new, so we've been adjusting, trying to give you info without being too specific. While something's in process, you're innocent until proven guilty, so we don't want to get anything out in
The
front of
same
the public.
thing with the permit report?
Yeah, that's a good, there's, at the bottom of the permit report, there's some fines and some other info in there that we probably shouldn't publish in the future,
Okay.
right? It becomes really the public's business if there's an appeal to council and it goes on the agenda. So just list it as a number, there's an application or there's a whatever. And any questions on those two reports? Any comments?
I just have a question. Driving around the community, I see contractors driving in and then going down driveways and stuff like that. Is it possible for us to have a current list of those who have business licenses? So that, if you're driving
And you see,
and you see a vehicle that doesn't look like
I think if it's current, it's, yeah,
Well, Igor basically does that as part of his duties, and so he has probably found, 3 to 4 at this point that do not have business licenses. And so
Well,
what
what
you
I would-
saw on there was one of those that did come in and pay.
Sure,
And we
well-
have a couple other that are still.
What I'm asking for is if you would provide me with a list. I seem to see these people coming and going, and I'm thinking, I don't know. They just went down this driveway, they look like they're from Eugene. I don't want to approach them,
yeah.
but if I had a list and I didn't see them on
And
the
if they had a
list,
logo, you'd,
I could refer it to you, Lilo, or Lenore to follow up. But there's a lot of people who are entering our community to do
Oh,
work,
yeah.
and we don't have any gatekeeper on that.
busy time of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah, and not everybody requires a business license, but that's a good point.
right. So,
What's the fine for tree removal?
Was that the one with the expired business license?
That was across from my house on
Yeah.
the lake, and people decided to cut trees down, and they used out of the area tree cutters who didn't have a business license. And Igor was very responsive, and Pam was very responsive, and they went over and put an end to that. And then there was subsequent discussion about if there was a hazard tree or not. And so they worked with Lila's staff to get themselves properly licensed in the city, and Pam worked with them on whether or not they could remove a tree.
They were down by the water.
Yeah.
Down by the water.
Yeah. And did they have a license that expired? Or they never had a license?
Oh, that one
They
did?
did.
It expired, right?
Yeah.
So we got,
Two years
everybody
ago.
got a different answer, right?
2 years ago.
Don't have a license, do have a license, it had a license, but it
It
expired.
was like 2 years
They
ago.
had them,
Okay, because they're an annual, right? Those are 12-month? All right,
Yeah.
all right,
Based on their date of getting the license.
gotcha, all right. Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move on, those don't require any action. The next item, you have a list in your packet for discussion. We have some lawn care stuff in the storage shed that we didn't realize we had. And so, per our purchasing policy and state law, we have to discuss how we want to dispose of. So, they could be donated to a nonprofit or another entity, they can be sold. If you recall, we had the bucket truck and the old police car, those were sold. We made up our own ad, we posted it, and then we took bids. We could put these at a minimum price or make them bids or whatever you guys want to do.
So you're declaring this equipment no longer needed by the city?
Yeah, we don't even know why we have so much equipment because we've never had a city employee that did all this. We're not sure how we ended up with so many brush cutters and a leaf blower.
And they're just sitting in there.
And a pole pruner, because they've been parked in there. I mean, I haven't been here that long, but as long as I've been here, they've never been discussed with two city administrators, so I'm not sure who uses them. All our landscape, we've got two different contractors that bring all their own equipment and all their own supplies, so I don't know if there was a volunteer crew at one point that,
There was.
For permits?
We put together crews and
okay.
go out and clean specific roads
All
that
right,
somebody asked.
because it's all good stuff.
I'd suggest that we sell it on our Facebook page or something.
Yeah, well, it's the community's Facebook page, but we did post it there and say, go here if you want to bid on it. But yeah, we can do that. We advertised, we put pictures out here, and we ultimately sold the two things that we had. So we can do that if that makes, that's an action item, right? So we need a motion to sell it.
I'll make the motion to sell.
All right, and
Second?
do you, before we vote, does anyone care how we sell it, or we're just going to authorize? I mean, this isn't going to be tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff, so
I think you should do the auction like we did the bucket truck and the,
we set a minimum and.
yeah, I
Okay.
think that would be most appropriate.
I think minimums and let people bid over the minimum and.
Okay, see what we can
whatever
get.
the bidder is after a certain period of time.
All right.
You
Okay,
know, if you had pictures of the equipment.
we will. We did that last time.
Good idea.
Yeah, so you can see the condition and stuff, but we don't know if they'll run. They probably will, but it may take a minute to get them started, so.
And I think that should be, would they, for the people that are interested in purchasing it, could they be allowed to come down
Come
and
and view.
start it and see, because I mean,
Usually it's you can view it.
because these are not cheap things,
No, they're not.
they're stills, and
But
that's expensive.
we have no idea how many hours they have on them, and, you know, I kind of doubt they were winterized or anything. They were probably just put away warm one day, and they've been sitting there for 3 years, or 4 years,
So how many of these?
since you were on the council 4 years ago.
They were put away that way.
Are these all gas powered?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, with the pulp pruner, that's probably not.
Yes, yeah.
No, it is. It's
I'm not
a,
sure if they're gas or it's that mix that you're.
yeah, it's
put in.
pretty, I think they're all
Probably-
two-stroke.
probably
One of
Yes,
these has an
premix.
engine in it,
All of them, I
Right.
think, yeah,
as is where is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It affects the price, but yeah, it's quite a project to get them all running.
If they're all mixed gas, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
If they're not mixed gas, then you got problems.
Mhm.
Potential, yeah, we'll see. So, everybody good? We'll put a price on them, we'll take bids, and we'll dispose of them. All right. So I've got motion by Melissa, second by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you get staff on that. And then, first discussion. So we've had a bit of discussion about our septic ordinance, so we have some proposed revisions to discuss. The action would be to propose the revision, because it would be a public hearing before we approve anything, but this would be for the council's opportunity to weigh in on the revised language, and if you want to change any of those words, with the caveat that when we adopted this revision, there was a companion resolution that talked about the LUBA, what does that stand for? The Land Use Appeals Board remanded this back to council, so there were revisions proposed that they weighed in on and said, you can't do that. So I'm paraphrasing here, because this goes way back. The 2 ordinances ago, the council stated publicly that we would go above and beyond what state law required. And so we had a much more stringent requirement that became the discussion for the revision, and Duke was here for the revision, correct? And so, and then, or the discussion, and then it went to land use appeals. They, some residents filed an appeal. It went beyond the city, and it came back to us, yeah, you can't take away everything because you said you would go above and beyond. So what we have is pretty specific, and one of the concerns is it puts the septic inspection company and pumper in the driver's seat on your property, and it's your property and it's your problem to take care of it. And when I say yours, I mean, we all have this, right? We live in Dune City, everybody has septic. So we want to follow the state's guidelines, but be stricter, because the state doesn't require that you do the inspection or report to anybody. So we're still require a report. but the state recommends 5 to 7 years do an inspection, and do not pump until you exceed 40% of capacity. And I heard some grumblings, and so I went and reviewed mine. When I moved here, it was pumped dry for an inspection because it was a real estate transaction. I bought my house from a single guy. There was 5 inches of sludge and 5 inches of scum, which is not much, way less than, they put a check mark at 35%, even though the state says 40%. They said less than 35, and then I paid to pump it dry, got pictures for an inspection, and my letter says pump in 5 years. And it's going to be the exact same thing. I've got one guy living in a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house. So now I understand the angst. That should be a 5 to 7 year, and it's the homeowner's responsibility. The inspector makes a recommendation. The homeowner is ultimately responsible. So if you said I did it in 7 years, and I'm at 22%, then go another 5 to 7 years. And if you're at 41%, then you need to schedule pumping. But at 41%, it's hardly a crisis. You still have
Oh, yeah.
more than double before it's even close to full. So in my mind, if somebody said, well, I'm at 41%, state recommends I pump, I'm going to save my money up and do it next year. That still complies. It won't even be to 50% by the time they pump it. So I don't think that will invite overflows or backups, and they will continue to get inspected on some reasonable interval. Unlike, pretty much, we've heard this, the whole rest of the state, no community requires an inspection on file. So other than when they construct it and inspect it, or if it backs up and it needs maintenance work. So that was the gist of this. We did some research. We couldn't do the resident cannot do an inspection in Oregon. After talking to environmental quality, they said, you have a lot of flexibility, but it is in the statute, in the state statute, it has to be a licensed operator that does the inspection. So we're going to abandon that idea since the legislature's already met and they're not going to change it. So, so anyway, there's a bunch of strikeouts and a couple of words changed. We hope for clarity, and so that's how we got here. Hopefully it makes sense to you. And I don't want to go page by page because we're not proposing any revisions to a lot of it unless you see some glaring issue. You found one.
I would like to propose something on the second page of definitions.
Owner? Yeah.
Under 3,
Yep.
spell deposit correctly.
No, it's always been like that. That's what we used to call it. It's King's English. A deposit. Okay, Miss Eagle Eyes, thank you.
And the other thing is, all the other that we have done, we've changed it to person responsible. So do we
Right.
need owner and person? Can we make it person responsible?
I think so.
Just so we kind of keep some consistency?
It does. Anybody have a concern with that? Because you're right, the last 2 ordinances we reviewed, we simplified it to that.
Well, I like the idea of person responsible. I mean, should we be saying owner/person responsible? We don't want to give owners a pass.
But it doesn't.
No.
Person responsible, the definition has owner in it.
Exactly.
That's okay. That's
Right, so if you're using a management company, it's corporate owned, it's individually owned, it covers everybody,
Got it.
instead of having 2 different definitions.
I just want to go back to the definition we've already made.
Right, because we did it in nuisance and code enforcement. I like that. And in fact, double check, make it exactly the same as the one we just used in the previous 2.
So
Okay.
in a context, I'd like to ask a question. So this was Duke's suggestion, and I think this is a really good revision for us to make. Is it something that we would consider doing to have a trained septic inspector that was
We
an
could.
employee of the city?
That came out of the LUBA recommendation. They said, because the cost question came up, our only choice is a third party. They get to pick the price point. We've also added some people to that list because our ordinance says state form, and one of the biggest doesn't use the state form, but it says state form or approved. Their form's been approved by the state. In the past, they were told they couldn't work here. It was kind of a black and white review, and they're licensed and legal in all of Lane County, so Oregon Water Systems can do this. They do this, and it turns out they had a very attractive price for one of our employees did it. Lives outside city limits. So anyway, so yeah, we're trying to get those options and, put the homeowner
Sure.
back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, what I'd like to see is,
And,
if we could publicize who can do the inspections.
Yeah.
And I understand that the septic companies, they have access to the septic locations and, all the build and the drawings and all that sort of thing about when these things were put in. Is that readily available to the city? Do we have access to all those records?
I think we have to get them the same way they do, right? You call Lane County
Right, but they
or the homeowner. I have mine
Yeah,
because,
they seem to, the one I spoke to, he said, I have all that stuff. I'm going, well,
They bring it with
they bring it with them.
but they gotta do the research to get
But they
it.
get it from Lane
Because
County.
it's not online though.
It's not online.
No.
Okay, so-
But they get it from Lane County.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my suggestion would be that if we wanted to explore, you said this Oregon group, do they have access to it? I mean,
they all do the same thing. They go down there and,
But if we were to
visit
explore
this.
that as a city service, we're charging a water administration
Yep.
fee. If we someday had someone.
a wastewater fee, and you can do the same.
Right, exactly. I would think
Right.
that would be a cost-effective option. You could give people a price point through the city, like my last water district, they had a backflow test that was required. You
Yeah.
could do it through them, or you could get a third party to do it. But that kept the price point reasonable.
Right,
So it's
right.
just a-
Because there's no profit, there's just actual
Yeah.
cost and,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, we could, we don't need to put that in the ordinance because it is allowed.
Right,
So, yeah, that's one that came out of that finding is, if you want to separate the two, you could have a city inspector, or hire one of those companies to work for the city and negotiate a rate to
Right.
just do an inspection,
right.
that they report back to the city, and then we could say, you're fine, for a few more years. The problem is, we need to be careful, we can't say, you're fine for 5 years, and what if it has a problem at 4.9 years? We want to supply the information, but not by any liability or
Right.
or response, but yeah, that's still open to us, and that actually was discussed in that appeal hearing that went to the state, that that's a possibility for the city.
In my understanding, the net result of these changes that we're making is that they still have to have an inspection at least every 7 years.
That's the state's recommendation, yeah, 5 to 7.
Inspection, but dumping according to the schedule.
Dumping when it exceeds 40%, you should consider, right, and if they find you're at 90%, then you probably should move quicker, but, yeah, I think a lot of these are being pumped at 30%.
Right.
Repeatedly.
Yeah,
And the cost keeps going up. We're all sensitive to that,
yeah.
the disposal fees and stuff.
The last thing I would mention is I was talking to one of these contractors this week, and he said that, of course, he drives his truck all the way to Eugene to dump. And for some reason.
I wondered.
For some reason, the local city that has a sewer facility doesn't accept this type of waste.
At all.
At all.
I wondered.
I wondered if we could reach out to them and find out, because it seems like part of the built-in expense to these operators is that
hauling.
the truck is out of service every time they go up there.
Yeah,
And I was advised by this one contractor that when you have a 1,500-gallon tank, there's one operator in particular that's only pumping one side because he knows he can do 2 pumps and then go to Eugene instead of 1 pump and go to Eugene.
Right.
So he's leaving half of the water on the water side,
yeah,
and that's not really pumping it, but
Right.
what he's doing is he's double dipping, and seniors that are not aware of what they're getting, like the question was asked, did he open both lids? What second lid are we talking about?
Right.
That's how it came up.
right.
So I'm just wondering if there's.
And it talks about that when you look at these inspection guides,
Right,
2 chambers, check the first, check the second.
right.
Um,
So there
Yeah.
might be further discussion we can
Yeah.
have, not only with our local municipality,
Yeah.
but if we're gonna educate the public about pumping, if they are gonna have it pumped, have both sides pumped.
Yeah, it needs to be.
Get your money's worth.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
so,
completely cleaned
They
out.
typically charge by the gallon.
yes, I know, but like their
But you
trucks
think you're
hold-
getting a discount, you're getting half of a job.
Yeah,
I
they're-
guess is the
I guess their
concern.
trucks hold
Probably 2,500 gallons.
2,500, and the
Yeah.
tank is 1,500. So what
Yeah.
they're doing is they're pumping one side, and getting two pumped
Right.
halfway, and then running it up to the valley. So they're making twice as much money carrying, not two dumps, so.
Yeah,
But part of their cost has to be driving all the way up to Eugene,
Right.
with gas guzzling trucks. And it's not very green, it's not very green to haul it all the way up there.
you know, and Reedsport's got a wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
closer.
I don't know.
We could call around and see if we could get a city deal,
Well,
or if they would accept it.
I don't believe that they allow that. Those typically have to be dumped at a sewage disposal place. Basically a landfill, from what I recall.
Oh, really?
When we were
I think they're
doing it.
dumped right at a sewage treatment plant,
Yeah, usually go right into Headworks and just
yeah.
saying you
They
paid by
usually
the
have a
gallon.
receiver just for that,
Yeah,
but,
we'll have to find out, we'll have to ask Florence what the,
The person that advised me said that Florence was giving up a lot of revenue they could have, because they get paid by the gallon.
right.
And it's just like, well, put it
Wonder
in your
if-
system and collect the money.
Wonder if Florence has a capacity issue.
I was just gonna say capacity.
Well, we can ask.
Yeah.
No, good comment, good question. All right, any other comments on, not all the pages have page numbers.
No.
After the definitions, prohibitions, intent, owner's responsibility. And then the next page is where we have some strikeouts, and we're quoting the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality here. And they have a guide. I copied and pasted what's on their website, if anybody wants to look at it, but,
I looked at it.
and then, yeah, and then you've got the fact sheet, right? Yeah, and they have a ton of information. I mean, there's no lack of information out there, but there's clearly states, when solids accumulated is greater than 40%, have your septic tank pumped. And I think a lot of these are being done well before that.
With that being said, my question is, go 2 pages back to 142.060.
Of the ordinance?
Yes. And it says inspection and evaluation standards.
Yeah.
It's under form required, but it says, what I don't like underneath here is the second sentence. If the periodic inspection indicates a fully functioning system, pumping of the septic tank is not required unless the inspector deems necessary. The inspector will deem it necessary in certain cases. Since we already have 40%, do we
Right.
need to put, if he deems it necessary, because sometimes they will tell the resident that it's necessary when it's not over 40%.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good comment, because it would be something else, like there's a tree root problem, or,
That leaves an opening
right.
For-
that I
Just
don't think should be
simply check
there.
the box and say, yep,
So they
we
can just say
recommend we did
every
it.
time that it happens.
And it does say they have to use the the required report. It,
The Department of DEQ's form.
yes, and did you say that another company had a different form?
Yeah, and on the DEQ page, it says, here's our sample form or approved equal. And that, when we asked Oregon Water System, they said, yeah, we have the approval from the
Can we
state.
put approved equal in here then too, so,
We could, because it actually says that when you go to Department of Environmental Quality for the form, it says, here's the form or
right,
approved
I just
equal.
want to
Yeah,
make sure that
yeah,
we don't have to use that exact form.
yep, and that was the intent.
So are we eliminating that second sentence?
Just, I'd like to eliminate unless the qualified inspector deems it necessary.
Yeah, that's the whole, oh, I got you. And then leave the pumping is not required unless,
If it's fully functioning, pumping of the septic is not required.
Period.
And you have the 40%
okay,
in another place. I just don't want to leave it open for the
Right.
inspector to say,
right.
you gotta pump this, show me another.
If there's a structural
$300.
issue or something that's noted, then you would, but
Right.
otherwise, just leave it alone. Yeah, so you could strike that sentence because the other would be noted.
Or just put a period after
Yeah.
required.
Just put a
Right,
period
I
after
think a period
required.
after, and,
I agree.
sorry, I know you didn't want to rework
no,
paragraphs, but I
that's
just
fine.
didn't like the wording on that one.
Okay, and then the next one, we had the reference table at the back, but it was referenced in the incorrect way in the old ordinance. It's about expected life for pumping if you weren't doing any inspections. It would just say, look yourself up, how many occupants, how big is the tank, and then look at the estimate, and if it says 10 years, then take a look at it in 10 years. So we left it there as a reference, but it's not referenced in the same way, because it was confusing when you compared the two. One's an inspection, and the other one's an expected life from the university. The state says you can use that if it works for you. So we left it there as a reference thing, but,
Right, even the state one said this, my concern is, it hasn't been updated since April of 2000, and I tried looking on the web and I can't find one that's updated.
I think that's the last version.
And that's a very long time ago.
The technology hasn't changed in 50 years.
I did the same, I couldn't find
Yeah.
anyone.
I did a check today.
It's
trying to
basically
find
simple
one.
volume and assumed absorption, and, you calculate the absorption field, and so, yeah, no, you're right, it's old school technology, so that probably hasn't changed at all. Other comments? Kind of jumped forward.
Sorry.
Did we pass anything anybody wanted to revise?
I like it.
I'd like to say a little bit.
Please.
I think I've been on this since the very beginning. I ran for city council a long time ago to get this whole thing started because I thought it stunk. One of the things we were throwing around here was responsible party.
Yeah,
Well, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion in Dune City, the responsible party has been taken over by the city.
Contractor.
Well, by the city.
yeah.
The city first, and then the
Right,
city's
but-
acting as the enabler.
The,
It's taken the homeowner out of the
Right,
equation.
the current ordinance and the form letter that we had, the template just says, do it every 5 years.
Yeah.
It ignored all the rest of the words in there.
We went through this, and we finally got down close to this graph here, but what we talked about, what we agreed on, isn't what, I read through this ordinance again here,
Okay.
and it's probably the closest I ever got to PTSD. It was terrible. I mean, it was a terrible time that we went through doing this thing, and the city was really divided over this, as we all know. And I voted for this, but as it turned out, it never got applied the way that we discussed it and the way it came out. And that's what's always upset me about this, and a lot of other people. We have to get this back to where the property owners, we bought our homes, I've lived in mine for 40 years, I raised 4 kids in it. I know how to take care of my property, and I take care of my property.
Yeah.
When I was raising the kids, I had to have it pumped a lot. It's my wife and I now, and we both work all day long. That thing, and I'm in trouble with the city. I haven't pumped mine. I got my thing, and I said I'm not gonna do it. And I'll take the slings and arrows, that's just the way that goes, that's me. But my point is, what I'm trying to make is, we've got to get this back to where the people are involved with the pumper, and it's not getting a letter from the city saying, you need to get a hold of the pumper to come out to do this. That's where the problem is.
Right.
We've got to get it back to where we're responsible property owners, homeowners, we can take care of this ourselves.
Right.
Just a little caveat on that, I've spent a lot of time asking people from other cities if they ever get a letter
Never.
from their city council or from their city about it's time for you to pump your septic system, and not one has ever said yes. I just think.
I checked in 2 neighboring states as well. It doesn't happen.
We've got to get the responsibility of your septic system, your
Yeah.
water, all of that back to the property owners, and get City Hall off of it, and, in my opinion, stop sending out these letters.
Yeah, so part 2 of this, we've talked about our reminder, and right now, it's a bit direct. It's basically said, you shall in 5 years, and you got to respond within 30 days. And so we're going to change it to, it says 5 to 7, and here's your reminder. That's it.
I don't
Because you
even
don't have to respond for 2.5 years.
And then you've done your due diligence as a city, and you've sent out the reminder.
Right, because part of our struggle is, we've been told by the court.
Yeah.
We said we would be more stringent
Yeah.
than the law,
Yeah.
so we had to do something.
Oh, I know it. That's-
So we'll keep collecting reports and we'll keep sending reminders, but not, I
Right.
mean, you're right, I think the old one looks like a threat letter.
Yeah,
And then staff says, we didn't get a response, it's been 30 days, they send another one.
Yeah.
And say you're in violation.
Right.
When, if you're less than 40%, you're not violating anything.
No.
You're not even close to having a
you
problem.
know, the thing is in my time living in Dune City, in my neighborhood alone, we used to have about 20 kids there. I raised 4 kids.
Yeah.
And we used to have about 20 kids. We have one little girl that lives in our city. The whole makeup of Dune City has changed.
Right.
There used to be a lot of families lived in Dune City. Now there's
You and
1
me
to 2
do.
people in homes, in most
Right,
homes.
there-
Very
yeah.
few homes have full families in them
Right.
anymore.
Well, I think that this puts it back into the property owner's hands, because what it requires is that it's inspected every 5 to 7 years, depending on what you and the, inspector determine
Right.
as to what the level is. So if it's 7 years, okay, 7 years from now, you're required to have it inspected, which is strictly somebody coming out and saying, okay, you're only at 22%.
Right.
You can go another 7 years or whatever.
That's the.
So instead of it the way it was, where it was basically mandating that you pump your septic system every 5 or 7 years,
Right.
now it's putting it back to where,
Yeah.
okay, you're not at that level,
Right.
and it's gonna cost you, what is it, if you get a reasonable individual, $50 every 7 years to have it.
I think it'll be more than
inspected.
50, but
Well,
the number we heard from the company that wasn't doing any work in Dune City was they're charging actual hourly, and one of our employees paid $122.
Yeah.
And they
I've heard
said-
theirs is 400.
They said, we got the short form, and it has been approved by the state, and we did it for $122. And so, yeah, everybody else is like $450 with the, what is it, 8-page,
8-page report.
yeah, 8-page report, and,
Yeah, just the way that the letter comes out and it comes across when it comes, and you get it in the mail, it's an or else thing, and it intimidates a lot of people. They're gonna go ahead and have it done, even when it doesn't need to be done.
I agree.
And it's costing residents of Dune City a whole hell of a lot of money.
I agree. So,
That doesn't need, and.
so if we can get to this, that will change too.
You know,
We'll change it'll be a reminder that then references this adjusted language.
I just feel we're just acting as enablers to the pump and bringing in a whole lot of money for those folks that
Yeah.
doesn't need to be going out.
No, I agree. I agree.
Well, I agree with you, and I think that some of these changes will change the economics of these companies. They
Oh,
will
yeah.
be able to hold people hostage.
Yeah.
So I think
100%.
that will help.
I like that this says that delivered to the owner, the report, because we had a tough time. The person that came out to ours said, well, I'll send it to the city. You can get it from them. It needs to go to the
Right, you're
owner.
paying for it, it's your report, right? And then you can read it, if you want to read it, you can decide if you need action.
Right.
Yeah, I did, I had the same conversation, I told Lyle, look mine up. And we went through the file cabinet, found the address, pulled it out, and it said less than 35% yes, pump it in 5 years. I'm like, there's absolutely no reason to make that recommendation, but that's what was turned into
Yeah.
the city. It won't have much in it, so,
We are adjusting our letters too.
yeah, yeah. Any other comments?
So just a question, we'll consider this at a future meeting?
Well, this would be tonight, if everybody says, yeah, that's what we should do, then it's a public hearing before we can change it, because it's an ordinance, so there'll be an ad in the paper, it'll be published, we'll take more, any more comments, we'll also have formal public comment, we can take comments from the public as well tonight, but yeah, so this was, if you like it, we'll go forward, and then there'll be additional comments. So the language may change again a little bit, but, yeah. Any other comments here? Melissa?
No.
Susan?
No.
All right. Rich? Anything else? Chris?
I'm good.
142.04, C, that paragraph, I would just break that up into sections. It's discussing a couple different subjects.
Gotcha.
He talks about the reminder, then he talks about what the city's gonna do when it gets.
Gotcha. So we could have a C1 and a C2?
Or just C, D, E, F, however many it makes
Okay.
to break it up.
Does that make sense, Lila?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the wastewater disposal system shall be pumped when septic tank has reached 40%.
Over 40.
That over 40%. So I have no background on this. I'm just a normal citizen, and I
Yep.
see my tank's at 41%.
Yep.
Do I need to pump it? Like, based on this, it says shall be pumped if it's over 40%.
And that's the state's number's 40.
Okay.
The good news is, they were saying 40, it's for the best operation, but it's not urgent, right? It's one of those important but not urgent at that point, because it's not going up 10% a week or anything.
Well, I
So-
think the word is shall that he's
It
concerned
it
with.
looks like it's directing me to pump it if it's at 41%.
Yes, but it doesn't need to be the next day. That's my point, is
Well,
if
then
you
that's not
said,
clear, because obviously sometime in the future is
yes,
is that 3 years from now? Is that next week?
if you were at 40, it wouldn't necessarily scare me as a,
But for the person
I
who
understand.
doesn't
I understand.
understand that.
Hey, it's been 3 years. It took me 3 years to get to 40%, and I got another 3+ years, and I'm not concerned about
Okay.
it. But just based on that verbiage, it's unclear what the expectation is.
It's almost telling the person it has to be pumped.
let's see.
Word
Well,
shall.
it does, that's what the state
Those are
says.
must do it.
That's state language right there.
Let's see.
State's recommending. They didn't
It says,
Recommendation's a recommendation.
here's from
It's not
Oregon.
directive.
From the Oregon's website, when solids accumulation is greater than 40%, have your septic tank pumped. So,
Greater than 40%.
yes, so 40 is their threshold. The good news is, you still got 60% to play with, so it's important but not urgent, right? If you told me you were on fixed income and you needed to save for 12 months to do it, it wouldn't scare me. Because we want to get in the reminder business, and if somebody reports back, I'll have it done in the next
Can
9
we,
months. It doesn't have, because right now it says you gotta respond within 30 days, and then they get they get a follow-up.
can we say it's recommended to be pumped then instead of saying shall?
I don't know.
I'm just wondering if the
It-
shall
it-
is what's,
It shall be pumped in the next 12 months? Or in the reasonable future? I don't know.
I think that's
'Cause
really.
I wanna get away from this, you got 30 days to
I think
respond.
that's where really the usage, how many people live in a house, the whole thing. I mean, if you got a home that you live in 6 months out of the year, you know, and you're gone, in which there's a lot of those in
Right.
the city, I think it's a whole nother,
Right.
you know,
3 years.
yeah.
It could be, and it wouldn't scare me.
But you're cloud nine, they need to pump it quick. Remember that Airbnb that was always full?
No. You don't know the whole story. They don't even do anything anymore. It was broken.
Yeah, now, they don't
It's
have to
fixed.
more, but we used to have to pump it all.
Well, when it was broken, they did it just to be safe. It wasn't overflowing.
Oh, okay.
We got some bum information.
Can we,
So yeah, go ahead.
can we just say, the pumping schedule should be reevaluated after inspection based on DEQ guidance and projected usage?
I don't know, because you bring up a good point. Is it shall or is it think about it? Because most people don't really know how it operates, so I don't know,
Well, that state language is pretty.
It says you need to do it.
Yeah.
So theirs doesn't say shall, we made it say shall, but it says have your septic tank pumped. It doesn't say may or shall, it just says when it is greater, comma, have it pumped by a DEQ licensed pumper. And they do have a published list. The problem is, they have one for the whole state, and then you can sort by county and city. And so we've done a little research to see, to verify that those people listed, are they working in Dune City? And so we can put some clarity there, like, we don't recommend anybody, but here's everybody we know of that's licensed. Reach out.
I'm just surprised it's 40%. I would expect to see that at 80%, but I'm just surprised to see 40%.
Yeah,
That's like a half glass full,
yeah. Well, it's kind of how it functions. It needs,
Yeah.
it's an anaerobic bacteria, and
I
it needs
get
some
it.
room in there so it
I
doesn't
get it.
poison itself and kill all the bacteria, but
I get it.
without getting into the biology and chemistry. So we could change shall to should, but it comes down to, the city said we would do something stricter than state law, So if we say should and somebody doesn't do it, is it a violation of the ordinance? You know,
But again, based on this verbiage, there's no timeline. So if you say,
right.
it shall be pumped, cool, I got it scheduled for 2 years from now.
That, if you told me it was scheduled and you were taking care of it, I wouldn't worry about it if you were at 41%.
Yeah. But, so I can be in compliance with this, but basically doing nothing,
For a while.
or I could freak out and schedule it for tomorrow and pay an
Yeah.
exorbitant cost. You're really putting it on the owner to like figure it out. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what we want.
Yeah.
Well, when they, yeah, and some of them, you're right, they'll call a pumper because it makes them nervous, and they'll say, be there that Thursday, and it's $800, and they'll say, okay, you know, make it happen. And others will say, $800? Call me in 8 months, I'm gonna save up. And
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it overflowing if you're at 40%,
Right.
No.
you know, unless it's a family of 72 in a 1,500-gallon tank, and it's actually 40% every 6 months, and, you know, that's a different, but most of these, I'm with you, dude. Looking at our demographics, most of these are gonna go from 40 to 43 in the next year,
If that,
right?
yeah.
So back to the question here, okay, it says in the previous paragraph
Yeah.
that the city's gonna receive a copy of the inspection report, and we see it's at 41%.
Yep.
Is the city gonna follow up with the property owner and say, okay, it's at 41%, what's your plan? I'm not sure we ever need to do that,
No.
you know.
No, right now, our thing that we got back from the appeals hearing was the inspection. We're the only community that required an inspection, so as long as we do the inspection, the rest of this is already covered by state law, you know, you can't, it's against the law to have waste, you know, not properly treated waste.
Right.
It's in our nuisance ordinance, it's also state law, so.
Well,
And Lane County, the sanitarian will come out if you report raw sewage.
Of course.
Right, because they permit it, they inspect it, we're the middleman here.
Right.
And they will come out for a follow-up.
So the word that we're looking at is shall or should or may be pumped
Yeah.
when the septic tank
Yeah.
has reached over 40%.
Ought to get around to it.
Ought to get around to it. I mean, it's like, but it does say, as referenced in the most recent Oregon State University septic tank maintenance schedule. So it's saying, okay, it may have reached over 40%, but then flip over and look at the schedule.
Right, so that gives you some guidance on
I
expected
don't have to do it
life.
anytime soon.
For numbers of people,
Yeah.
you can kind of guesstimate how long it should last.
Right. So I'm
Now,
just-
the table is actually to, not to get to 100%. Nobody ever tells you to run your septic to 100%, because then you got a problem. And in most cases, without getting too graphic, when the tank's at 100%, it's not raw sewage coming out in your yard, it's at the closest shower drain usually. The closest, lowest toilet doesn't have any clean water in the bowl, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So usually it affects the homeowner before it affects, you know,
Right.
before, I mean, when it's a blocked up leach field or crushed or something, that's when you get it out in the yard. Overcapacity is, the person paying the bill will be the first one to know.
Right.
Because they'll say, why does it smell so bad in the bathroom? Don't step in the shower pan.
Well, I think this is a two-part sentence here. It's just saying, shall be pumped when it's reached 40%, but go look at that schedule. You pump it according to that schedule. That might be 17 years. Right?
Well, you can use the schedule as a reference.
Okay.
So the 40% is the one that they say you should do it. But if you, because we're the only entity that required the inspection, everybody else just looks at the chart and goes, we should be
Yeah.
good for another 7 years. So yeah, we were just trying to share the info, but you're right, some people aren't comfortable with that, and some people are.
I see.
So if we change it to should, and it totally makes it optional. It makes it very clear that this is an optional thing. If the city's not gonna follow up with you, here's just a recommendation.
Yeah.
Or put the words in recommend, so, you know, before we put wastewater disposal, it is recommended that systems,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
we don't want to govern, you know, it's just like Duke said.
Well,
I think it's more than a recommendation, it's.
it is, that's what I'm trying to figure out. The state in their Well, this was the info on their website. We can answer that question. I mean, we need a draft language to put out there for more discussion, right? It would be a public hearing. And we need to verify, because I was looking at their website and this is like the easy-to-read version, not what the statute says. And we'll see if the statute's got any wiggle room. I'm not sure exactly how the state describes that, if it's a shall, a should. I'm with Duke, at the end of the day, it's your system,
Does this
right?
have to be vetted by the state after we pass it?
No. No, because the nuts and bolts are Lane County and the state anyway. We can't be less restrictive. That's why I said, I need to see how they worded that. We can look that up. And, because I didn't print the whole thing. That's a good question. Or we could revisit this in 2 weeks before we decide to go to public hearing and see what we need to put in there if you want to finish that discussion. That's probably smarter. I don't want to prolong this, but I don't want to have an ugly public hearing either. I'd like to make sure we got all our ducks in a row, so. But I'm open. I mean,
I think we need to wait and investigate before we even approach it.
one more council meeting?
Well, enough time for us to give it before
Okay.
that way we have correct information for our
Okay.
citizens.
Yep, I agree.
Trying to do right, not cause more conflicting issues.
Absolutely.
I think it should state something to the effect that, once the inspection reports that it is at the percentage required by the state, then you shall pump.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what the state says. We'll see how they
Yeah, when it's,
put,
this should state
Do it.
when it's at the point that the state requires.
yes, that's what I want to do, is
Then
agree with the
Then you
state.
shall require it.
Okay.
But other than that,
I
then
agree.
it's the property owner's responsibility.
Yeah, this is their easy-to-read language. I'll see what the statute says, see
Yeah.
how they word it.
Cool.
All right, any other comments on this? Okay. Any public comment on the septic go ahead. Mr. Snow.
Even before our own property here, I came to a hearing with my father-in-law on this topic. And everybody that I know, there's a lot of opinions around the community on various topics. I haven't found anyone that likes this ordinance and thinks it's reasonable, it serves its purpose, it does what you intend. We have 3 septics on here, I've done the opening of every one of them. And one we've had since 2008, it still doesn't need to be pumped today. Doesn't need to be pumped, doesn't need to be inspected.
Percentage-wise?
On there. We've had another one in Lane County, it's been opened, we've always looked at it, it doesn't need to be pumped. Ours that was 4 years old, you had us open it, look at it, it didn't need to be pumped. So, I'm kind of with Duke, this doesn't make any sense. When you say, I hire an attorney, go back and revisit it, why would we have to exceed the state when no one other city
Because-
in the entire state has to? Why would we have to exceed the state? Go back and say, if you have to exceed the state, can you exceed it on one point? 1 point of the...
It's not exceeding the state, it's that the previous public hearing at some point, and this is
But why should we be held to that?
because the council said it. They approved it that way.
Can we get an attorney to overturn that? He might
It
well
went,
invest it.
it went to the Land Use Appeals Board, and they said no. So our advice from our current legal advice was you don't want to go there again.
You don't want to go there again?
So we're trying to simplify it as much as possible. I don't think we can eliminate it.
But what the thing is what is the minimum you have to do to exceed the state? That's what you should do.
That's what we're trying to
You
do,
don't have, I
inspect.
don't think you have to keep records.
Our ordinance was inspect. We're the only community that requires inspect, so we're trying to stretch it out.
And the notification on your website might exceed any other city. If you put a notification,
Well-
please check and do that. That would exceed
Okay.
any other city in the state, and even the state.
I appreciate the comment.
But I mean, I'm saying, nobody I know of likes this ordinance. But do make it the
Okay.
minimum possible. And right now, what bothers me is on my particular form of inspection, it says I don't have to do it for 8 years. If we're going, you're going to move me back to 7.
You don't have to do what?
I don't have to do an inspection for 8 years.
And your inspection form says that.
Yes,
Then you should be fine.
yeah, but you're gonna move me back to 7.
No, that's a recommendation.
Okay, but.
And it says if you
That's the problem,
have,
is the willy-nilly on the recommendation, the chart in there was misunderstood. That was for pumping, that's not for inspection.
absolutely,
Okay? Where's the chart for inspections?
there isn't one.
That, maybe there should be. Why should I be inspected other than?
We're just following the state's recommendation. They recommend 5 to 7.
Okay, can we recommend 10?
It's up to you and your septic company to determine that.
That's the whole problem. They hate this, is don't leave it to the septic company.
That's,
They have a bona fide reason to have you do it more often. It's like, there should be a criteria. Okay, I've got 2 people in the home, this many gallons. You're at 10%. Expect it in 10 years. You guys are only here 9 months out of the year. You know, there ought to be a criteria, not this.
well, there is. It says if the recommendation of your licensed operator is different. Our problem is, we ended up with a template letter that said 5 years, and they're all just saying do it in 5 years. But you're right, if you actually talk to the guy and he says, frankly, the way you're operating, you should do this in 10, then have him put it on the report, and we'll have it on file as 10 years.
But it'd be nice if we had a criteria for the operator to follow.
State law.
The state law says 5 to 7, that's not what I'm talking about. is it?
No,
We-
that's not even the law.
Well,
That's just a recommendation.
We should come up with a criteria and not leave it up to operators, is what I'm saying. Is it? And anyway,
Okay.
I think if you talk to any one of your residents around here, and they think this ordinance does not do what you want, it doesn't improve the water quality, you just make everybody miserable.
I
Well,
disagree.
you can thank the former council that put this whole thing into place,
Well,
that did this to start with.
The one that did this was just prior to when I came on, and the board, it was about protecting Moheat Lake.
Yep.
And they went overboard on this like crazy.
and it was the Woheat Water Association.
Well, and
that-
they had it, they didn't understand how septic systems work, they were worried about fields overflowing and draining into the lake. And
And they convinced
the
Luba.
problem is, it all got codified, and once it got codified, that's what got us at Luba.
Yeah.
And we were toast then. But what you were saying, if we go 1 point over what we need to do to qualify, to satisfy the state, that's all we should do. We're above and beyond what we need to do.
And notification on our website would be other than anybody in the state does.
Except, now, I appreciate the comment, but I don't want to be back in front of Luba.
No.
And so I don't think you can simply say one tiny thing exceeds the state, so we're good enough,
How do you
because
know-
you're opening yourself up to another appeal,
How do you
which
know
cost,
what-
by the way, thousands of dollars to defend and present. You had to pay an attorney
Yeah.
to appear.
Yeah, I don't want to go
So
through.
I don't want to go there again either.
What's
Yeah.
the minimum to stay out of their thing?
I don't know. There isn't. It's not
You're
clear.
guessing what they want.
It's just, no, we're not guessing. We're
We
being
can
very
guess our way
careful.
right back into a LUBA hearing.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, that we're guessing what they want.
And we don't want to go to LUBA.
No,
Maybe you do.
we have a whole packet that I referenced in the beginning. It was approved as a resolution. It was Luba's findings when this was sent back to us. That was attached. It has a whole bunch of stuff that was discussed. So we're being very careful to not get into gutting the ordinance, but making it more user-friendly.
You can keep the owner, I think the point is, we just got to get the owner being the owner
Right,
being
being
responsible, and the
responsible. I agree.
owner talking with the pumpers.
I agree.
And then, those two folks deciding when the next inspection pumping needs to be,
Right.
and keep
If-
City Hall completely out
If
of
you
it.
care, you should have the conversation, and if you just want to feel comfortable, then pay them to do it every 5 or 6 years. That's your business and your money. But
It's just, every place
I'm
is
with
so
you. I don't want the
individual.
city to mandate it.
The usage on, especially in Dune City, each place is so individual. We have
Right.
people coming and going, 1, 2 people in houses, people like myself work all day. You know, it's just, it's gotta be between us, the landowner, the property owner, the septic people
Yeah.
responsible for it, and the pumper.
Yep. I
Not
agree.
only that, but we need to have companies that are not going to gouge in prices.
I think that'd help to remove
Well,
that when you had
We don't regulate that,
owner
but
sitting there.
we
No,
want to
but
put the
it-
owner in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
But still, you're going to have our seniors that are more susceptible.
Yes, I agree.
And maybe then we should go to a contract operator through the city.
I think it's
could.
something to look
That's
at,
not a bad
definitely.
idea.
So that way,
And then address this issue.
that way it's a set solid price, and it's exact same form
And
comes out by the
and
exact
it's
same
one
company
person
every
doing
single
it.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have a
Well, this
concession.
one says this one says this,
Right.
but, oh, we're gonna do this.
That's
No,
a good
it's,
idea.
everything is one person.
All right.
That cuts out on the ability for gouging of
It makes them
prices.
answerable to City Hall.
We'll follow the same
You know, I mean,
criteria.
having that.
Yeah, it does,
Inspect
but
X.
it's gonna help the
Have them
homeowner
contact.
too. Mhm.
Yeah.
That one contractor will follow the same criteria for when you inspect next, you got 2 people, this many gallons. It's-
Yeah,
That one contractor will give you the same price, follow the same guidelines for every single individual out there, there'd be no questions. Boom.
It's exactly, yeah.
Inspection criteria is still kind of willy-nilly in my mind.
no, it's not. The inspection criteria is defined, it is dictated by state law. There's an 8-page report form or approved equal. So we know of one firm that has a short form that's approved. It's not willy-nilly at all.
My criteria, Mayor, respectfully, is when does it get pumped, when is it inspected next? The criteria for
That,
the next
I
inspection.
think you follow the state and say, we recommend 5 to 7, and after you do an inspection, you go, you know what, based on what I see, you should be 10.
So
That
you
could be
al-
variable.
You also don't,
That's where I get the willy-nilly, is I don't know.
Well, it's not a very technical term, but you're right.
one
It's not- it's not-
person,
variable.
It's not exactly as, all right, you.
This is not an exact science at all.
You guys have 2, that you're at 10%, so you get 10
Yes,
years.
and-
There's not a criteria there.
Septic is not an exact science either, in
and
any
that's
state.
a great thing because you also have the interpretation
Right.
of the words.
Yeah.
My
It's-
view is that we need to move on because we could go down this rabbit hole like the previous council did.
Yeah,
We're just trying to move forward and trying to improve it
Yeah.
and make it more user-friendly. If we try to reinvent the wheel here, we are just gonna get other parties interested in
getting our
coming in
fingers burned again, too.
and
so
push
that's
it
something.
back, like these associations. They'll be right in here again, pushing the
Potentially.
narrative. So,
Yeah.
let's move
So,
on.
we got a couple, yeah, Ms. Jackson.
I just want to say too, as a longtime resident, I couldn't agree more with both of you. It is ridiculous, and it's been ridiculous for a long time. And I've always had a problem with why is it we take care of, as homeowners, we take care of our own water, our own septic, our own everything. The cities have never supplied us with city water or sewage. We do all of that, and yet we are answering to, like you were saying, stricter than the state or the county would be.
Yes.
And I just think that's unfair to us. It's an extra middleman that is just, we have a lot of government in our life, and it's becoming more and more intense as the months go by, especially recently. And it would be nice not to have this hanging over us. I agree with you, it's ridiculous how expensive they are, and we are absolutely being gouged. And I'm like you, Mayor, I live in that, or do, I pretty much live in a house that we put in a septic system for a 4-bedroom house, even though it's only a 2-bedroom house, because we thought eventually we were going to add on our little single cabin next door. And the Glacier Excavating Company had said we could do that down the road when both the houses were in our name, and they are. But the difficulty is that it's having, I agree with you, I'm one person, and I don't even live there all the year. And, my sister is one person, doesn't live there all the time either. And it's ridiculous. We are having to pump like someone who has a 4 to 6 family
Right.
household.
Right.
And we're just not putting that kind of water through the system. And a lot of people
Yeah.
who live in Dune City aren't even here year-round. So yes, I think we need to be handled individually. And thank you for bringing this up. It's been a concern for all us all for a long
Thanks.
time.
Anyone else? Anything on this? Okay, we'll continue it. And so we'll get some more answers, if not the first meeting in August, then the second meeting in August. And I say that only because I go on vacation for 2 weeks this Friday and come back right before the meeting, and I won't be doing any research when I'm on vacation. But once we get some more info, we'll put this back on. So we'll continue it to a future, probably 30 days max. We'll try to get something back in front of you, or 2 meetings. And we'll go from there.
Are we gonna come back with it being that, city contractor?
That doesn't have to be in here. That's already allowable we'll have to look into that. That may take more than by the next meeting.
Because I think it'll simplify, just eliminate
will.
all this crap right here.
I wouldn't require you to use the city. I would offer the city as one of those alternatives that would basically be cost plus, right? Because we're not running a business, we would get, if we can get an hourly rate like we do Northwest Inspections.
You get a Northwest Inspection, or whoever it may
Yeah.
be, that is the city's contractor, that's
Yeah.
used by everybody for X amount of dollars. They follow the exact same
Yeah.
thing for you. It solves this whole thing, it's done.
Yeah, we'll look into that. Oops, that's my note.
Just my
All right.
2 cents,
No, I
sorry.
appreciate
I
that.
agree, we should not be talking about all this until we have our bases in play.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Okay, next item is ordinance for potential revisions to ordinance 231A, the shared domestic water right. So this ordinance was adopted some years ago. And we have some sections in here that no longer apply. The way the water usage reporting was identified. It was before we had meters everywhere. And they are now read monthly, and we report to the state. It's automated. We have to do an annual report, but we report monthly and do the annual report. But it's gotten easier because it's all read along the way and put in a database. So the revisions are on page 5. Sorry, yes, on page 5. Top of page 5 is an important one. We just had someone ask where it was required to have the remote read meter. And it doesn't say that. It's really a procedural thing. I don't think it even has to be in the ordinance, but so Lila added that. It's remote read, so any new meter installed, we've been assigning them a meter if it's a new permit, but we've had some old ones replaced, and we had one that was replaced with a non-remote read, very low-cost meter, and then they were shocked to find out they had to replace it with one that could be read off property. So anyway, that word was added, and then the strikeouts and the revisions at the bottom of page 5. And you wanted to speak, Bob, about the fees for the reading, not the ordinance itself, because the fee isn't in the ordinance, so I want to make sure we didn't skip you, but
Correct.
this is related, but it's not the same thing. Okay, all right. Same for you, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, in case Susan or anyone else saw typos. You'd have to hit me in the forehead with a typo for me to notice, so I'm not making fun of you, I'm making fun of me. And this is specific to the domestic water right granted to the city. So any other, if it's between you and the state, it's between you and the state. This only affects those that we have to report on and administer.
And if they're not out of leagues, they would have to call us, and you can call us each month and give us the report.
I'm going to start down here. Do you have anything?
No comment.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
No, no comments.
All right, I'll give you a second.
I didn't see typos when I read it earlier.
Good for you. Well, good, I guess, good for the past drafter. Any comments on the proposed changes?
Not on the proposed changes.
Is there something else?
Well, 51.9, administration fees?
Yes.
That dollar per calendar day, couldn't we simplify it and just have a late fee or something like that? I didn't, because to me, that was the purpose of it. Am I reading that wrong?
No, you're right. It's a late fee. Is it difficult to administer?
Well, we don't really do it that way. If they're late more than 90 days at this point, we just send them to collections.
So we're not pursuing this, it goes to collections and then state law applies for the collection fee and then whatever. And, okay. So, yeah, it's kind of a moot point. If we had to do it, you could do it, but it doesn't really come up.
So
So why aren't we striking it out?
why do we have it? Or I'd rather
no,
just say
that's a
something
good-
about a late fee and say you get $25 late fee or whatever
Or just put
it is, and
late fee over 90 days goes to collections, yeah, because collections is governed by state law. There's an allowable interest rate, an allowable markup for the collection agent. We just follow state law, and the collection agency, people that take care of this for us, they're familiar with it. So you're right, we could, and this is the same as the first, this is ordinance, so there would be another meeting for public hearing. So yeah, we can look for, we could substitute better language and just say if it's more than 90 days, it goes to collections. And those penalties and fees apply for state law. Good one. All right. Anything else?
I have a question on
Yeah.
51.100, Section B. Dune City will contract to have the meters read once a month. They're read by,
Oregon Water Systems.
okay. So why are the property owners holding the value, must have access to the meters if it's being read remotely?
I was looking for where it said that, so I was going to ask that too. Very good.
It goes in a couple of different areas within this ordinance. It talks about
Because-
them being able to have access to it. If it's read remotely, why do they have to have access to the person's property?
If it looks unusual, they physically go inspect it, and if it's broken or been tampered with, it may get replaced. So most places, I mean, pretty much every water company has similar language. If you have to get there by connecting, you're giving the city permission to verify. So, and they do, if they see an anomaly, you know, if it goes June, 6,000 gallons, July, 6,000 gallons, August, 8, or, 26,000, they'll flag that and say something needs to be eyeballed. Either
So
the
it is-
meter's gone haywire, they got a leak or a block.
Are they required to notify the homeowner for especially those that are not in their property 365 days a year?
I think they attempt to notify, but they're just going wherever the water meter is. It's usually between that lake pump and the home. They're not inside the house. They've got to be accessible. So most utilities, yeah, they bang on the door, they'd leave a door hanger and say, we're going to come back tomorrow. And if nobody's there, they just find the meter and check it.
Well, access could be something as simple as driving down my driveway, because my driveway's so long that if they were to stay out on the nearest street, they might not pick up the receiver, the transmitter. So they need access down my driveway to even get in the proximity of my dwelling
They might.
to pick up that signal. So,
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's not coming up anymore since we started doing it this way. So yeah, whatever they're doing is working. I'm not sure what the range is.
yeah, I don't either.
But I think the only time they really need access is the new install or if something looks like it's gone haywire. Any other comments, Melissa?
No.
Anything, Duke? No. Did you find anything else, Susan?
No, sir.
Okay, well, seeing none, we have a couple of adjustments, and we'll prepare this for a public hearing and get an ad in the paper and get it scheduled. Any comments from the public on this, on the meters for the Dune City Municipal Water Right customers? There's like 208? Right? Okay. All right. Seeing none, we'll go on to citizens input. So, I've got, I believe Mr. Smith is first.
Good evening. My name is William Smith. I'm the president of the New Fern Acres Water Users, Inc.
Okay,
And we're a small water system that your council has helped us build 2 or 3 years ago. We learned at the beginning of July that the fee that we're, well, previous to July, we paid to your city $100 total per year to have access to the water in Mohic Lake under your permit.
right.
And we learned around the beginning of July that that fee has gone up, and we're now going to be paying something like $1,236.
Because of the number of
Yeah, because
users, right, or
the
end users.
calculation has been changed from point of diversion, which is like a
The
per
pump.
hose in the lake,
Right,
to per user.
right,
And we have some concerns about that.
okay.
The first concern is that we didn't get any notice of this proposed fee increase. And I'm sure that you guys followed your normal procedure for doing a resolution,
Right,
but considering the size of this increase, I really wish that you had given the people that we're going to have to pay this some notice that this is being proposed. And the other concern is that it is a really big increase. It's like a 1,200% increase from last year. Each of our users, by the way, we have 12 houses that we provide water
Okay.
to right now.
that makes sense.
Each user's share of the prior fee was $7.14. And now it's going to be $103 per household.
Right,
A number of our users are on the limited incomes, so we haven't talked to them yet about that.
okay,
We're currently in a process of preparing for our annual meeting with our users, and we're going to be having to tell them that we had some unexpected costs during the year, so the projections that we made, last year were inadequate, so
okay,
their fees are going to go up. And this just adds to that.
yep,
Anyway, we wish we'd gotten notice. The other thing is, it's, like I said, it's pretty drastic increase. We would wonder if you would be willing to reconsider that fee and perhaps scale it back a little bit.
okay.
And the other thought is, will there be a time when we go back to the point of the one
Point of diversion,
hose in the lake?
right. Let me try to answer those. So we had, for lack of a better term, perfect storm. We've been working on water rights. And water right, I won't say water right issue, it's a project, and it's a substantial project. The water rights were granted to the city in 1969, and they are still not papered or perfected in state law terms. So we discovered, because we've got 4 permits that are all related, and 3 of them had extensions, 1 of them did not. So Lila and I spent a lot of time with the state and Lane Council of Government. They're doing mapping for us. And the state basically said, you've got to track it down to the address and show each lot and show how they're connected and how they're fed. And these community systems became quite a project where they were one point of diversion, which is easy, right? One spot in the lake, and in your case, 12 homes. And they said, no, we need to see all 12 homes shown. So we've spent substantial time and money on the mapping and creating a GIS layer for those that work in this industry. And all this will be published on our website for reference, so it's easy to find who has, if you have a water right and your address and all that. But it turned out, so that was the first problem. We had to map it, document it, satisfy the state. They said your old map that was created in, 1986, they said the old map doesn't meet standards anymore, so we had to start from scratch and create a map for all those. There's 240 points of use identified, and there's 208 homes. There's a couple of them that are still vacant out there. So we had to map all that, and it has a cost. We also have to report on each. We were just talking about reading meters and reporting. So somehow we had to make that jive. We were reading 1 meter, but we had 12 points of use. So it wasn't satisfying the state. The other part of that perfect storm, we're going through the budget cycle, and when the budget committee met and said, the utility fund has X, and the effort keeps growing, and the cost keeps growing, but the fee has been fixed at $100 per point of diversion. So we made the decision, every other water district that you could find would say, you have a monthly service charge, right, if you're a customer. If you go to Florence, it's like $40 plus, right? They pay $160 a month for water. Oak Ridge is more similar to us than Florence. I talked to the mayor of Oak Ridge. They have 800 homes and, similar number of customers, and same. They're like $175 a month for their water. So it basically ended up, it's $100 per household instead of $100 per straw per year, or now 103 because we weren't keeping up with inflation. So we still think it's reasonable. We did some research. I mean, this was all part of the budget discussion, but of course you don't realize what all is going on unless you come and, and you realize that. But yeah, so I apologize. We didn't individually notice anyone because we were basically covering that shortfall. So the budget committee made the recommendation, and it came to council for approval. So, and I appreciate the inconvenience because we're on one schedule, and homeowners, most homeowners are on an annual, right? You do your taxes annually and that sort of thing, and we're on a fiscal year that started in July 1. So we had this conversation in April and May.
It was passed in June.
Yeah, and so it was all passed, took effect with the new budget, and so I appreciate that there wasn't really any notice. You just got the notice that it was increased. So I understand that, but big picture, it's still pretty reasonable. I mean, when you compare to community, the cost of water and delivery and that sort of thing in most communities, but it was really out of necessity. We have to report to the state. We have to keep up. The good news is we've made a lot of progress, and the folks at the state, the Water Master's office said, you're really at the point you should be applying for beneficial use, which is that final step.
The permanent permit.
Yes, and then we would have, a water right per household, because now we've got them all on the map, and so it would become a permanent water right for each of those households, and we wouldn't be doing these permit extensions, and everything is now extended till
2031.
2031, yeah, we got over 5 years. So that's about as good as it gets. So in the next 5 years, we really want to get to beneficial use for the 208 households. So that's part of what's driving this, is we need to map all of your households, and the community water systems were the ones that were, that took a lot of extra work. All the rest were, about half of the city is 1-to-1, one point of use, 1 point of diversion. And then the community ones are the ones that took the extra work. So that's why the fee went up in the community systems, to put some more revenue into that utility fund, because that's where we're spending all the effort. So we have to track each individual address and property number. So the good news is the record set's better, and for future notices it's better, and we'll have a layer or a map that you can look at online if you have any of those questions. If somebody's buying or selling, you'll be able to point to the map and say, yes, there's, parcel number and address, you can look it up. You don't just take my word for it, it'll be listed there. Same info that the state has on file. So that's what we're trying to get, and it was a bigger effort. It was a lot bigger effort this year, so.
Well, I appreciate the additional information.
No, thanks for coming. Yeah, I don't know how better to get this out there, because originally we weren't tracking every address. So that was part of the puzzle, is we don't even know who we're notifying, because we historically had the point of diversion, and then it said it's for an acres. We didn't have, it took a lot of effort to get all the rest of the information. So we're getting there.
Good. Well, I appreciate the time.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. Did you have similar or different?
I'm vice president.
Okay.
You would do for acres, but you answered a lot of my questions
Okay.
already there. If we could possibly get copies of what you just talked about, of systems and addresses and things, and find out what their fees are. And
We can show you there's a lot of stuff out there.
is
We
there
have,
copies available of this, or is there?
So the first is the map we've submitted to the state that shows them all, and I think we can share that. It's in review.
Well, we have a map, and we have a map on.
Is the whole on the website now?
I don't know.
It should be.
That link I sent you? Yeah. So,
I can ask Chrissy if she
so
can
the
update.
map is now on the website,
Okay.
and then we had to break it into little pieces because the state requires an eye-readable paper.
The unicity.gov.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then, how much of that research did you save on, you know, what Florence charges and some of the other communities on, you know, going, we had that discussion as a budget meeting, right? We had some, so yeah, we have some backup as to what typical community cost, and there's a monthly service charge, and then, and this is something we're wrestling with, and you guys will appreciate this, and we'll need your input.
Information to answer questions.
Yes, and we'll need your input in the future. One of the assumptions the state has, if you have a water right as a community, right, so we have a community water right, every other community has a treatment plant and waterworks, right? The city does. And so your water bill would say, you know, here's the cost for the plant, and then here's the consumption. And you charge by the 1,000 gallons or by the cubic foot, or depending on the entity, you know, liter, whatever you want to do. They actually have something in their requirements that we have a tiered rate system. And I said, how do you suppose we affect that when we have a zero rate system? We simply have an administrative cost to read meters and report to satisfy state law. And they said, I don't know, but you're supposed to. You have to have this conservation plan that says if you use more water, it costs more, so that it'll encourage you to conserve. And I said, yeah, I know. I came from a really big city where we conserve millions and millions of gallons. This isn't a very good fit, and I don't have a water treatment plant. I don't have a cost. I only have paperwork to get it in your hands so that you can deliver it. And so at some point, we're going to have to visit that, because when you get to the beneficial use, they want to know how you keep track and how you encourage conservation. That's why we keep putting things in the newsletter and stuff about conservation and you know, taking care of your septic system and protecting your water quality. That's part of the reason we do it. Is it's, you know, it's a good idea, but it's not affected in a rate. So that's a next step, you know. And frankly, we really need input from the community systems on how to manage that. So we can share what other communities are doing. None of them are a very good fit here, because we're basically, you know, individually or as very small groups providing that service. So frankly, at a very low cost, even at $100 per household per year. I mean, you can't find another community that has a water bill of $100 a year. But so anyway, I appreciate your comments.
Systems are about our size in this area.
You're 12. There's a larger one. Oregon Water Systems
There's
South Coast
South
has.
Coast.
You've got Alderwood,
Heights,
you've got Alderwood,
Alderwood, Simcoe Heights.
you've got Teach.
So that's like 200. I think we got 200.
So they all get the same per
We
household?
don't, not far apart.
Yeah.
Oh,
So all we have is Wilmington. We don't have-
Yeah, and this only affects the water in Wohink. This is really confusing, right? So it doesn't affect all residents. Everything on Silcoos is individually metered, and there are some community systems, but they're through the state, not through a city water right, so we don't have to meter them. They have to report themselves to the state and read their own meters, or, you know, however they want to, you know, it's up to them to report. So,
So you're saying
It's a mixed bag.
doesn't get the charge that Lloyd does?
well, somebody has to report to the state. So if you're in a community system on Silcoos, you know, I don't know how they do it, but they still have to do it. I don't know what the
Oregon
cost
Water
is.
Systems report to the state, right?
Yeah, and I know some of our council are on Oregon Water System, and they meter, they read, it's all inclusive, and it's more than $100 a year, right?
I'm South Coast.
You're in South Coast. I got you.
South Coast Water.
Okay, you're right. So they're all a little different, yeah. And they're all outside. We don't approve their rates or anything.
Yeah, I just.
The bigger ones,
You're saying Silcoos, some residents don't have to pay this?
The Silcoos Lake, none of those residents are on our city.
they're not on a municipal right, so we don't have anything to do with it.
They're
They're,
not in Dune City?
The permit is for Wilmington.
Yeah, our permit
yes,
is on the-
our municipal rights on Wohink, and then they can have a water right, but it's directly between the property owner and the state.
Okay.
And then the state says you have to And then there are some really old properties, if they haven't made any revisions, they predate all this. That's part of the problem, it's a moving target. So all community systems and all municipal rights, they keep whatever the law changes, we're governed. But individual rights, they're basically grandfathered in, and communities, municipal systems never are. So every change creates a change for us, but it doesn't create a change for all homeowners. If you haven't modified or amended a right, they leave it alone. So it's a bit of a moving target. That's why it's taken so
A
long.
private right, which I have between me and the state, which never required any permitting or anything, is now costing me $175 a year. So
So they charge you more than
and
they
this
charge-
right
we
goes
charge to
clear
report.
back to like 1850.
Wow,
So, and they just started requiring that 2 years ago.
yeah.
So, I mean, they're catching up with everybody, whether or not you've got a private right or not. Everybody's gonna end up getting it, so.
And it's complicated, their water rights is complicated in Oregon, between municipal and individual and commercial and agricultural, and is it a surface right or a well? We've learned way more than we wanted to know about
We just
this.
want to be able to explain this to the homeowners.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah,
the-
so for the municipal, it was just, we've got to track it to the household, so we decided we have to charge every household, because we've got to, in your case, we don't meter every household, but we have to report and keep track of every one of them, and have the ability to notify them all if there was, say, a tiered rate structure. So, and we do now have a map that shows them all, so, that was part of our cost. It was the effort to get there.
The map is online.
Okay, very good. So we
Just
do,
helpful resources.
all right.
Thank you.
You bet. Did that answer?
Yeah.
As best as, okay. All right, I've got Geneva Jackson. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, I'm just interested in the same situation.
Yeah.
But I have a concern for the community. And because multiple times, and up until very recently, I heard both administrators and the planning commission and multiple other people say that the water permit was for Woking. And then like a year ago, people started talking about this, how this water permit was also for Silkus. And
So-
that's a concern.
It's not. So there was some Silkus users that moved to Wohink, and that was my confusion. The municipal right is only on Wohink that we're talking about right now. Globally, we've got users on Silkus, but they're not part of the municipal right.
Yes, okay, well, great. That is my concern, and obviously anyone who does have their own personal permit
Yeah.
can deal with the state
Yes.
individually, but it's still need a meter.
Yeah, I would think the meter's still something.
Yeah, I think it started out, it was voluntary. And then if you did any work, it became mandatory.
Okay.
So yeah, ultimately, the state expects to read them all, because they're trying to keep track of the entire resource, right? And historically, they would just say, we make assumptions about, single-family home uses about this much. And the good news is, the water that we're metering, we are using less than their assumption. So from a supply side, we're in good shape, mostly because it rains a lot. The biggest user is irrigation in most places, not showers and brushing teeth. So anyway, they care. So we've been reporting our part, and then as things happen with wells and individual pumps, I think they're getting metered as well.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Jeannie Jackson, anything else?
Well, we were both here concerned about water and sewage, and just that, isn't that something we deal with as homeowners between us and the state and the county?
Yeah.
We're just wondering how much Dune City should be controlling us, and it does concern me if I feel like
If you're on Silkus,
draft is something.
we don't have anything to do with it right now, but,
We've been here for decades, and all of us have enjoyed the water on Silkus, and what you're doing in Wilmington is something else, and it's the people on Wilmington can deal with that. Thank you for assuring us you are not going after Silkus.
we're not going after anything. We're just reporting back to the state. We're not,
It's been sounding like that.
the homeowner is the one taking water. We're just filling out forms and reporting back, and it's a thankless job, but Lila does it all the time lately and her staff, so, yes.
I just want to say that I'm very impressed with you guys. I've been to a couple board meetings.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a long time, but
Yeah.
I really feel like you're caring about the citizens.
Well, absolutely.
And also, stupid question, I don't get the paper. I don't know when public hearings are.
I don't get the paper either.
I mean, I would think we would get something in the mail or something.
Not anymore. So bulletin board, post office, the website, or the newspaper, and it's only once a week. I mean, we're obligated by law to do that, not that that's the most useful place. So it's easier to just look at the
So you
meeting
don't
schedule.
have a public, so there's not always public hearings.
No, those are a special, yeah. Council first and third Wednesday, and then public hearing just requires additional notice per state law, so we have to do a legal notice. In the good old days, they did postcards. You don't have to do postcards anymore.
And how far in advance do you put it on your website?
At least, well, about a week.
Council meetings a week, all the backup, and then public hearing is that more than a week? Well, it depends on the type of public hearing. Like the budget requires further
Well, it sounds like
notice.
something's going to be coming up in the next month, maybe.
Yes.
I
So
just have to look at the website.
there's first of early August or middle of August. Yeah, but every 2 weeks, we'll have that discussion. So if there's no other comments, we have I hope, a very short executive session. So we have a choice. We ask them to leave unless we have something really good to talk about during for the good of the order, which is not for action, but you can hear. Or we can all run in the room next door and have our discussion and come back.
What do they want?
Okay, they're leaving.
Are you going to talk about your discussion, your separate meeting? Or not?
Well, so the discussion is private, and then if the discussion is to proceed, then the deliberation is public. So yeah, we would have to come in here and say, this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
So given that, we should probably go in the other room.
About possible lawsuits, I think.
Well, there's a number of, here, hang on, I'm sorry, you're right. I have a script. I'm sorry, Geneva. You're right, I can't tell you all the details, so let me read the script.
Okay, thank you.
Durham City Council will now meet in executive session for the purpose of consulting on the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to potential litigation, or this says litigation likely to be filed in pursuit of ORS 192.66H. So HR issues, land, real estate kind of deals, if we were buying or selling a piece of real estate and we didn't want to tell everybody because it would affect the price.
Okay.
And then, in this case, a potential, a resident that has repeatedly said that he was going to sue if things didn't go his way. So we want to have a quick.
Okay, this is a very specific issue.
Yeah, this is one issue. And then, so if we have any media, if you have media credentials, you can stay, but you cannot publish anything without getting approval. So we won't ask the members of the audience to leave. We'll go in the back room real quick. The media cannot specifically report on any of the deliberations during executive session except to state the general subject of the session. No decision may be made in the executive session. At the end of executive session, we'll return to open session, and if there's any deliberations, they'll happen in here. So I will close city council meeting at 7:44, and we will quickly move next door, and I hope we'll be right back. Okay, we'll reconvene at 8:05. After executive,
We're missing two.
oh, okay. Well, I was going to say.
Two.
Oh, I
So-
thought, I thought see him behind you.
Just one.
That's really time to go to sleep if I listen to
In the interest of time, we're not taking any action. We had a discussion, there'll be no action taken tonight from our executive session. So we'll go right back to the agenda. It's for the good of the order time. Let's start with Duke.
I would just like to thank city staff and city council for having an ear to this problem on the septic. And I think the folks that were here that listened to what we had to say were encouraged. And I'm personally thankful as well. So thank
Good.
you.
Yeah. Melissa?
No, thank you.
Susan?
No, thank you.
Rich? Nothing. Chris?
Nope.
Larry?
Just one thing, I guess the state might have a special legislative session
Yeah,
regarding the transportation bill.
mostly,
Is
yeah.
there any chance Boomer can move this provision we'd like to see added to any law that would get rid of these fish?
Probably not in a special session, and I'm still researching. I pull up every ordinance, and the stuff about fish screens says the small users are all voluntary. And they did this report that said how happy most of the volunteers were to help comply and save the salmon. I'm like, ooh, they haven't talked to everybody.
No.
So, we were trying to get through this permit revision before we pissed anybody off in the same circle.
Right.
And so I hope, we're basically in final review, right? Everything's been accepted for this last,
I haven't heard from her.
so, and then I was just gonna go back and say, hey, help me you guys, we have questions from the council. Where is the enabling legislation? Because it talks about diversions and it talks about municipal water rights, and they still talk about the big flows and the big diversions and the big pumps. And then it even talks about if you're less than 30 CFS, you're eligible for reimbursement from the state, and if it doesn't function, the state will maintain it or replace it. It talks about all this stuff, but it's for irrigation, right? I think we're just an unintended consequence, and so I don't even know that I need Boomer yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been searching with all this other stuff going on. So anyway,
Okay.
and I want to compare your picture of the quarter for scale, because I have quarters, right? I'm going to measure that and say, here's a typical pump. The opening size is basically like having a screen. What's the point of all this crap?
Exactly.
Doesn't do a bit of good, so.
Okay, well, I just hope
Anyway.
that,
Yeah.
I'm
Because they
grateful.
will be very hesitant to add on, because all the governor wants right now is money, and they announced they're laying off 400 DOT employees, and
Yeah.
so they probably won't take on anything else,
Well,
but
if it's voluntary, maybe we can unvolunteer.
that's what I'm thinking. Just say, yeah, we changed our mind.
All right.
Or here's the bill.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else. You have anything else?
Just that I should say that the diver, Brian Mill, is going out probably this weekend. We've got quite a few people.
doing the
on our
cleanings?
list of Fish screen cleanings.
Yeah.
Talk about fish screens. So, yeah, that's kind of.
So you know anything about septic?
No.
Hopefully you don't have to dive.
Well, no, but in the off months, because he wants to do the cleanings in the summer.
Yeah. I don't think he actually lives here anymore. I think he
Okay.
lives in Eugene.
Would he like to have a
I would
Yeah.
like to-
time away from home?
If every fall we said, hey, we have a special on septic inspections,
We can book his calendar
$99.
for 7 days, I bet. We could book a calendar for him.
Ask him.
we could, because there's a lot of people eligible, right? You can take a class, so,
And we would require that, correct?
no, the state does. So all we have to do is say, we found a guy that's got the certificate, and he's agreed to work for us for $75 an hour or whatever.
Okay.
So we could explore, yeah, I mean, that's what we need to find, is somebody that's gung-ho to do it, that's independent of all these people with the suck trucks and,
Yeah.
that
That would be perfect.
was the recommendation for Luba,
He's
is,
not pumping.
is find somebody who's not a pumper, who's willing to do inspections for you, even if it was through the city, where, it's like a building inspection. Oh, you have a new house or a house that's 10 years old,
Igor, do you want to do it?
it's $75.
I don't know anything about it.
But you soon will,
There's a class.
if you say yes, we send you to the class.
You can learn.
To see how hard it is.
There's a test, but, well, there
You
you
can
go.
do the test here.
There's one guy left in the audience.
I know.
You're just standing around.
He might be,
I mean, honestly,
Visiting.
I think Igor would be something that you could explore with.
you'd be irreplaceable, man.
You'd be popular.
Yeah.
It would get you into people's backyards easier.
It does follow code enforcement though, right? Because when somebody goes, I got a stink, you
No,
call
but
code
that was
enforcement.
code enforcement.
If somebody says, there's something going on in the backyard, you call, and if he goes, I'm also a certified wastewater inspector.
I don't see all my shit.
You kill two birds with one stone. You know?
Sheds.
My three old sawmills.
All right,
Yeah, I'm in tomorrow.
well,
You know who would be there?
okay, so that's not an action item. I appreciate the enthusiasm. We'll work with staff to see if there's anybody left in the room that might be capable. Not it. Huh. So, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Anybody want to stay? It's 8:12. Thank you. That was productive.
So